All right, guys, welcome back. It's Mohammed again. So now we're actually up to section three. We installed the player, we downloaded the ISOs, and guess what? We are ready to set up the server operating system. What I'm choosing here is Windows Server 2019 for the server, and the client will be Windows 10. Of course, in upcoming sections, we'll be looking at to see how Windows 2022 works and Windows 11. So for now, this is what we're actually setting up. So what I need to do is I need to first of all verify that I do have the ISOs. So I do have the ISO of Windows 10 and I have the ISO of Windows 2019. Now I told you that 16 gigs is actually enough because I don't need to be running all the machines at the same time. So in some labs, I need to have two servers running at the same time. In some labs, I need to have one server and two clients. So if you just have 16 gigs, that could be fine, but it could actually be a little bit slower on your side. I know it's good to have more, but let's say 16 is the actual standard, and I try to follow that. But I have 64 as you recall from a previous section. So look what I'm going to do here. I'm going to open the player just like this. Now I'm going to set up, first of all, two actual servers, and I'm going to set up two clients. So what I'm trying to say over here is I want to actually do all the installation first so I can have all my virtual machines up and running, even though I'm not going to actually need the two servers at the same time, but I rather set up my lab first. So watch this. I'm going to create a new virtual machine. I will install the operating system later. If I choose this option and I browse, and let me just show you, and I go over here and I go to ISOs and I choose Windows 2019 and I go next. Look, it wants the product key. So no, I want to go back and choose the last option. I will install the operating system later. And I'm going to go next, Microsoft Windows, and I'm going to choose Windows Server 2019. And I'm going to go next. So I'm going to call this W2019-1. All right. And I'm going to browse and put it on my desktop because on my desktop I have a folder called VMs. And I'm going to make a new folder and call this W2019-1 as you see. So things are actually organized. Then I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to go next. 60 gigs is actually fine for the capacity of the hard drive. And I'm going to say store it as a single file instead of multiple. And I'm going to go next. If I click on finish here, I could customize the hardware later, but this time I'm going to customize the hardware just like from here. I have a lot of RAM, so I'm going to give this 8 gigs. All right. Leave it as two processors. And I'm going to get the ISO of 2019, desktop ISOs, and 2019. I don't need to use USB. I'd rather remove that. You could leave it on. It's up to your choice. Close and finish. And I'm going to play the virtual machine. And watch this. I have to click mouse inside the box and press any key so I could boot from the ISO. Give it a few seconds until I get to the welcome screen, and then I could actually release the mouse because right now the mouse is stuck. I'm trying to get out and it's not working. Look, I have to press Control Alt to release the mouse from outside. See that? Control Alt to actually do so. So if I actually activate the mouse inside, it's kind of like stuck, but I'm going to show you how we could actually fix this actual problem. So if I want to come out, I have to always press what, guys? Control Alt on the keyboard. That actually releases the mouse. And now I'm actually out, as you see. Well, what I could do right now is I want to go back and continue with the actual installation. So here I should be getting the welcome screen. So I'm going to go next, standard, as you see. Install now, right? And we have to be careful of which option we will be choosing over here. I have to make sure that I'm choosing the desktop experience, not the core, which is the server core. That's actually the command line version. So I have to make sure I choose the right option to what I'm going to be actually using. If you notice, the virtual machines can look like they're actually slow, but I'm going to show you how we can speed up the process after they're done. So here, make sure you choose a desktop experience. Standard is fine. We don't need the data center. It's a standard desktop experience for the GUI. The top option is a server core. It's like a command line version. I'm going to go next. And I'm going to say, of course, this is going to be an actual what fresh installation, right? So I'm going to say I accept. Next. It's not an upgrade, it's a custom. And I'm going to go next. and just take the defaults and it should start loading Windows. So I'm going to press Control Alt and minimize this. So this is my first server. I'm going to set up my second server. So watch this. I'm going to right click, open VMware Player, and I'm going to create a new virtual machine. I will install the operating system later and Windows 2019. And this is also the same thing, W2019-2. And I'm going to browse to the desktop and go ahead, go to the VMs and make a new folder and call it W2019, all right, dash 2. Then OK. Store it as a single file, 60 gigs is fine. Then I'm going to go next and customize the hardware. If I didn't click on this, I could click on finish. Let me just show you here. And I could right click on the second server and choose what settings and changes to 8 gigs. All right, 8192. And of course, get the ISO of 2019 from the list, desktop, ISOs, and 2019. Right, that's what I'm doing on this one over here. And I'm removing the USB. Right, and I'm going to click on OK and play the virtual machine. Press any key to boot from the DVD, so that's fine. So this is my actual second server that I'm actually setting up right now. If I notice something, I could go back to the first one and look, it's actually doing good. And here's the actual second one. And then I'll set up my two client system, which is in our next section. But let's give this an actual moment just to show you how these things actually work over here. So I'm going to just give it a moment so I can continue next. As I said, there's something that is called virtual machine editions, which are the VMware tools. Is going to speed up the process of your virtual machine. You'll see. See, at the beginning, it looks like, oh, it's kind of, no, it's not slow. You'll see. Just at the beginning, it looks like it only takes 5, 10 minutes to set up each virtual machine anyway. So that's not actually bad. I'm going to go next and install now. And of course, I'm going to choose a desktop experience, which means I am getting a GUI interface. All right. That's what I'm actually getting, a graphical user interface. So I should be getting to the welcome screen in a moment. I like to have two servers, and you'll see why. If you notice in my sections, we're going to set up replicas, redundancy, like backups, and you'll see how that actually works. So desktop experience, and I'm going to go next. And I'm going to do the same thing. Let's give this a moment. I accept, next, custom, and I'll go next. All right, so I'm going to keep this running. So I'm going to pause the video. As you notice, I'm just concerned about my first two servers. And in our next lecture, which is part of the same section, we're going to be setting up Windows 10, right? So for now, I'm just setting up two actual servers of 2019. So let me just pause the video for now, and I'll come back when it's actually done. It should not take that long. So we'll see you guys shortly. All right, guys, later.